something in there.
Yeah,
45
so
minutes worth of
tea or coffee?
comedy. Tea or coffee?
Yeah.
Tea.
Tea.
Well, yeah, I mean, depends on if it's a fancy coffee, because I'm a child at heart.
What constitutes as a fancy coffee?
Oh, it's got to have like 27 different types of syrup in it.
Syrup?
Oh, yeah, like...
So you're sweetening nice coffee with some
100%. Coffee is
sugar.
dreadful.
Coffee
Coffee serves a purpose, which is caffeine.
Okay.
So if I can make it taste not like coffee, then
I
we're
think we
winning.
need to get you some good coffee.
Well, this is the thing. All the way through rehearsals in Colchester, you guys had like your favourite coffee spots that you'd go to, and then halfway through rehearsal, you got angry because they changed the blend of the coffee bean at one of the coffee spots, and I was like, "How can you care that much?"
That is true. That is true. Brazilian is better. It's true.
There we are. That's the headline of this show.
You can take.
Brazilian
you can take
is
that.
better. Take that straight to the bank.
Okay.
Don't you think so, Elmo?
Don't you think?
Look at the state of him. He has like 4 or 5 coffees a day. That's the only way you can get your eyes to do that.
He's getting a bit rough and weathered from this show.
I mean, bless him. He floats in space every day.
He does. How would you feel if someone had told you that you'd be doing a show with Elmo every night?
Well, I feel like my career has been leading me in this trajectory for many years. Playing the voice of Elmo and a grown man's penis is often where I thought I'd be heading.
Let's discuss that.
Should we inside the actor's studio, my illustrious career. I mean, we can't all have starred in Unbelievable along with Darren Brown.
No, we can't.
Because, some of us aren't that good. But
for listeners at home, that is irony there. My last job.
For listeners at home.
My last job.
Is this Radio 4 with Laura?
Radio 4th.
Oh.
Yeah, that's also a joke from the show, just for context. What we're talking about? Yeah, my last credit, which I really don't talk about, but is the butt of most jokes, was a very different show from this and contained magic from director Mr. Darren Brown.
Indeed.
And let's move the conversation back to where we were.
Which is my career trajectory, which has led me to this show.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of really serious shows about murderers and serial killers and psychopaths because when you look like this, that's what people ask you to do, kids at home.
I wonder why.
Don't look like this.
Don't shave off your hair.
Don't shave off your... Darling, I had no choice. Mother Nature is a cruel mistress and...
You've got lots of hair. It's just on the other side of your
Well,
face.
yeah, and on my legs and, one day I might go to Turkey, get the transplant, get it all put back.
Okay.
No, I'm not doing that.
I would say then you don't get to play serial killers anymore.
No.
Or grown men penises.
Or grown men penises.
So back to that.
Yeah, well, as a weird child who grew up doing weird things like watching reruns of Monty Python, for someone to turn around to you and say, here's, I think we worked out 17 weirdos in a play.
Yes.
Do you want to play all of them? And I kind of went, yes, Ryan,
Yes,
the director, I would love to. And here we are, many, many weeks later, still screaming and pulling weird faces and making Ross corpse more shows than he doesn't.
I would say 60% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, strong 60.
And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't encouraging it.
I think you are actively trying to produce that result.
I don't know.
My favourite part is to watch after you finish the scene playing a man's penis, is when you wiggle down and then burst out laughing yourself because you've been hiding it for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's also because I just enjoy hiding there and just watching him suffer. I think there's something so wonderfully generous in being an actor, watching other people suffer. That's if there was a book of acting rules, that would be number one. Make other people suffer for your enjoyment.
Other people suffer I like that. And coming in hot at number 2
is always wear a silly hat, at least one.
Or 17.
Or 17, yeah. Number 3 would be never let dignity get in the way of a good joke.
Okay. So putting others before yourself is a common theme here.
Well, if there's an opportunity for you to fall on the floor and get a laugh, even if it's at the expense of your own health and physical well-being, do it.
Or you could start Act 2 by banging into a light.
Yeah, no, I did do that a couple of days ago.
This week.
The top of the show, I have to hide in a corner, ready to run on and play the guitar and be really cool. And instead of doing that, I walked straight into a light that was hanging, at head height, in plain view. It wasn't hiding. No. And then thought I was okay for the first half of the second act, and then started to get a really quite substantial headache. But I put it all on the line for my art.
For the dignity.
That is what this is. It is
for the art.
Art. Giving my gift to the world.
To the world.
So, what are your 3 rules for acting?
3 rules for acting?
3 rules for acting.
That is sort of the worst question, isn't it? Well, the classic drama score is don't act, isn't it?
And I have been doing that for many years,
act.
so I've ticked that one.
So
Good.
we've ticked that off. And then I guess another stereotype would be react, don't act.
Oh, okay. No, I've not got that far yet.
No, I've not got that far in the book.
No.
That's page 112.
Okay, yeah. To me, you guys don't exist on stage. In my head, it's a one-man show.
That's why you don't look it up.
Yeah, you're basically scenery.
Yeah.
And number 3?
And number 3, well, my actual rule would be pick up an instrument because it gets you quite far, apparently, in this industry.
I mean, that is true. We do. I mean, what was your journey to being the actor musician lord that you are?
Lord?
The lord of actor musicianship. The only real.
I would not.
The only real musician on the show. Tell us all about your journey.
My journey would be, I started playing the saxophone at school, but that was only after I was denied playing the saxophone because I had to grow 2 front teeth first. So I had to wait a couple more years and then I got to play the saxophone.
Because you're not allowed to play the saxophone if you're ugly, is that what it is?
Well, ugly and without two front teeth that are still growing.
So as in you just had nothing there? As in all the rest were there and there was just nothing, just a hole?
I think they had to be adult teeth instead of milk.
Oh.
Is that the terms?
Oh.
It was a while ago. But yeah, so I picked that one up first.
Good.
And I sung in school and then I guess nobody brought me down to reality and I was thoroughly encouraged that it could be a career, which is a lovely thing. And here I am. I also, after school, went to Tring, Performing Arts School, where I did an acting course there and other musical bits, picked up a clarinet at the back of a charity shop, added that to the list, and then eventually to the Guildford School of Acting, where I believe yourself had just left when I arrived.
You are correct in that myself had left a few years early, but thank you for aging me down. I'm constantly reminded on this show that young people exist in the industry and it's very upsetting, but carry on.
Well, we are playing opposites, so if that's any consolation. Does that make me old or you young?
I think that makes me old, darling. Look at this. Am I allowed to swear on this? I won't. Yeah, I am. Look at the fucking state of me. I'm the old one.
But the psychopathic serial killer.
Yeah. That's what this show needs.
And male anatomy.
Yeah.
Let's not forget. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much me.
And you did a degree in actor musicianship. I
did. I'm not very good at making decisions and I enjoyed both disciplines. So when I discovered that there was a course that allowed both, I thought that would be where I should head.
And would you recommend that?
I would recommend that. I think it leaves a lot of doors open if you genuinely enjoy both. We also did a bit of dancing on that course as well, God forbid. That was fun.
But of course we do dancing in this show.
We do. We do
some whacking.
Would you like to describe what whacking is?
Oh, darling, if you could imagine everything that a man who looks like me with gangly arms shouldn't be doing, that's probably whacking.
We are a long cast.
We're very long.
Yeah.
And it's quite,
average of our cast is probably 5'10", I'm going to say, with Karen bringing it down.
Yeah,
significantly.
honestly.
Without Karen, we'd be 6 foot.
Yeah, we are very long.
Yeah.
Long and gangly.
Which isn't perfect match for the barn, have to say.
No. With a name like the barn, you envisage cavernous, huge, enormous.
Spacious
and
ceilings.
Then, lots of space, and then we filled it with
low-hanging lights, apparently.
Yeah. But, it's all part of the comedy because it makes us look big and enormous. And everyone knows gangly arms, funny.
Gangly arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Elmo.
I think he's got quite a good torso to leg
But look at the size of his feet. They're huge.
Yeah, that's not quite normal, is it? Does he go on?
Does he go on?
Does he have an on button?
No, I think they took the batteries out because I think the chances of me engaging Elmo midway through in Brendan's scene, you push the buttons on his,
and then he speaks,
and then he says Elmo wants a cuddle.
It's quite a testament to your talent that they've chosen you to say that line and not him.
I know. Well, that was the thing. Me and Elmo did both audition for the role, and they just decided.
Tough process.
Well, Elmo asked for too much money. I'm much cheaper than him.
He's got a lot of self-worth.
He does, and I have no self-worth. No, not at all.
Back to the melon.
Yeah, back to the melon. It feels like we're going in circles here, but that's fine.
We are. I would say one thing that we didn't cover was in your 17 characters, when we were talking about headwear.
Yes.
is I think you should tell us what your headwear is for the male anatomy scene.
Well, I don't want to spoil the surprise for the listener at home.
I see.
Sorry, listeners at home. But all I can say is, if you just, in your heart of hearts, if you reach into yourself and imagine what a 6 foot tall 31-year-old should be doing with their life, and then you think of the opposite of that and what they'd be wearing on their head, you'd probably be getting close. But for those of you who have seen the show, I will say that when I was told in rehearsals what I would be wearing, I thought it was a joke. The director said it in passing, and I went, yeah, of course. And then I turned up to the costume call where Libby, our designer, handed it to me and went, "That's for Bob's cock." And I went, "So that wasn't a joke."
That was no joke.
That was no joke. That's actually a thing that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been mentioned in every single review.
I think they do enjoy it.
Yeah, not my, the weeks I spent developing Brendan, the 12-year-old child with autism, not, me playing 3 bridesmaids in the space of 10 seconds. No, it's always Bob's cock.
It's a highlight. I would say as a selling point.
Yeah.
But you're being quite cryptic about that hat, I would have to say.
Well, the whole point of this is to sell tickets, I hope. I'll one or two.
We're not selling it.
If this discussion,
will?
if this isn't going to get us asked back to do a weekly podcast here, I don't know what is.
What would we call it?
A waste of time and money.
I'd check in.
Wasting everyone's time with Laura and Will.
On the call sheet, marketing.
Yeah.
Call. I like it.
Well, I've done worse things for money. So,
indeed.
What is the worst thing you've done for money?
Wow. Okay. You're gonna have to give me a moment to think about that one.
Okay. Do you want me to tell me?
I'd like you to tell a story while I have a think.
I was a topless butler. That is not a joke. When I was at opera school, I was preparing to do a show called Love Story, which is a beautiful musical adaptation of the film. Mm-hmm. And as part of it, I was playing a character who was, buff. He was quite fit. And so I went on a bit of a journey of self-development, shall we say, much further than...
Subscribed to the gym.
Subscribed heavily to the gym. Tried all sorts of funky diets, including the GOMAD diet. That's the gallon of milk a day diet.
Oh my God.
To get the protein into the body. That did not go well. But yes, I was in...
Aren't you lactose intolerant now?
No, gluten.
Oh,
so I can have as much milk as I like, dear.
Goodness me.
And while I was there, so I saw an advert asking for needing topless butlers for a bachelorette party.
Wow.
And they were paying quite a lot of money. And I was like, you know what? That's what I need to do.
I'm on this journey for a reason.
Yeah. And I did it. And I think they took pity on me because after about half an hour of me standing there with glasses of champagne, they went, "We're having a barbecue round the back. Do you just want to come and sit and have a chat?" And so I sat with all of the mums, the mothers of the brides and grooms, and
nice.
while the young people went and splashed around in the pool with the real topless butlers, I sat with the mums and ate the barbecue.
And you were thoroughly entertaining, I'm sure.
Maybe not for the right reason,
okay.
But I had hair then, so that's good.
That's a big change.
Yeah, but okay, so now I've given you that.
Stalled.
Tell me, what's the weirdest thing you've done for money?
Weirdest, I would say it's more conventional than you might think, but probably looking after other people's children in West London for money, otherwise known as nannying and childcare. And driving children across central London in my little blue Polo.
I mean, that is a big actor thing, isn't it? It's the culture of the survival job, and nannying is a thing.
The muggle job, as it is called.
The muggle job.
Which is an interesting term. But yeah, I mean, I did learn quite a lot from it. I would say, as you also learnt from topless...
From being a topless waiter.
Waiter, yeah. Oh, so you were serving food and drink?
No, just the drinks.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I just had a tray of champagne.
And no barbecue. Barbecue was afterwards.
Barbecue was after.
Right, okay. I think you get some pretty unruly requests when you're in someone else's household looking after other people's children, and you meet some interesting characters which you can bank for jobs like these where we're playing several of them. In fact, your bridesmaids, what are their names?
Nanny, Pat, Jane and Alexis.
Alexis.
And Alexis is 100% a Scottish rip-off of Alexis from Schitt's Creek. I think that that character is one of the greatest examples of character work of this day and age.
Nice.
And so it's 100% stolen. I mean, most of my characters are stolen from somewhere.
Speaking of stolen, this hat that we aforementioned.
You're not letting this go, are
I'm
you?
not letting this go. Would you like to tell us how director Ryan McBride came up with the idea for said hat that we're not revealing?
I don't know whether we can say this, but if we can say this, you might have to check this. Someone else auditioned. So they made me audition for this role with that monologue, and someone else in the audition came in and did it. And
with aforementioned
hat, they brought it with themselves with them. And Ryan did not give them the job, but did steal the idea. So I don't know whether that's allowed to be put out into the world, but if it is...
And that can go as acting lesson number 4, I would say.
Steal. Just steal.
Take other people's ideas and claim them as your own.
I think about...
Such as the cocktails.
Yeah, absolutely. I think about 20% of my performance in this entire show is stolen from Rick Mail, God rest his soul. The incredible, especially when Ross laughs, I've got a bank of things that Rick Mail said in his live shows that I've got stored away, ready to good old zingers. Although I did find out yesterday that they go in the show report every day.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, every time I go off script, it goes in the show report.
So a show report is a lovely little document at the end of a show, just for our listeners at home, that tells us how and why things have gone wrong in the show. Anything off script, clearly, as we've seen mentioned here.
Yeah.
Any pieces of set that don't fulfil their job. Or
any actors that don't fulfill their job.
Actors that can't
More
seem
commonly.
to keep it together. What did we have a couple of nights ago? Behind the door, a door?
Oh yeah, that was quite good.
That was
from
a
you.
nice one. Good grammar there.
We had the word door said 4 times in the space of 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's not in the script.
Behind the door, a door.
David
On the door, the words Department of Philosophical Underpinnings. Behind that door, a conference.
Yeah.
Laura is available for work.
I am.
If you fancy this, that
this and all its mistakes.
Yeah.
In all its glory.
But I mean, we've had some spectacular moments rehearsing this play. It's been unlike any rehearsal process I've ever been a part of before, in the greatest possible way.
In the best way. I mean, the environment, the atmosphere has been second to none. In a very concerning way sometimes, but the enjoyment from this text and this group of people has hopefully created something that other people enjoy. And I think that's why, because of the rehearsal process. Yeah. It was relaxed. It was hilarious.
I laughed until I cried multiple times.
And I think it was probably the only way through, because it was pretty ruthless for me and you in particular, and what we were trying to achieve in terms of the jigsaw of what we were making. So originally our show started as a 90-minute straight through. Yeah. And then at the very last minute, we added an interval. But when it was our 90 minutes extravaganza, the train that once it started, there was no stopping, we sort of had to create this map of characters and instruments and props and costume and a loop pedal to allow Bob and Helena to tell their story, and we're sort of facilitating that in the background. It became a bit of a juggle.
It did. And I think you're right. It could have gotten really sad really quickly.
Very stressful, actually.
But luckily, we had a creative team who knew how to manage that and knew when it was time to take a break and knew when it was time to be silly.
Yes.
Ryan, our director, is an expert at reducing a room to tears by doing something completely bizarre.
And so when you would least expect it, when we're sort of losing the plot and you'd expect any normal director to go, right, guys, let's do some work. He's the one then leading the chaos.
Famously managed to turn on our movement director's massage gun on his director's table.
Intentionally, I'm sure.
Mid scene. He has a tennis ball that he often has in his hands, which he would drop every sort of 3 or 4 minutes and chase it across the room. But it does this amazing thing of, it just takes the effort out of everything. It takes the stress out of everything. It really does.
It brings you back to zero. Each time you think, and it would be quite a few times, you'd look into your instrument corner and think, right, I'm now next to this instrument, i.e. some sort of guitar bass world that I don't usually play, and thinking, right, I'm going to have to pick that up now because that's what this scene requires, and my saxophone's on the other side of the stage. And you'd start to get stressed, and then he's brought out a massage gun.
Yeah.
And it's vibrating.
A massage.
A massage. Yes, indeed. That's a new word for massage.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A nicer person would have let that go, but
Thanks. No. But that's what we have on our podcast named Waste of Time.
Waste of time and money. Thank you very much. Waste of time and money with Will and Laura. No, Laura and Will. You can be the lead of this podcast.
I like the alliteration of the W's.
Waste of time and money with Laura and Will, or Will and Laura.
Will and Laura.
Will and Laura.
I think it's better.
Yeah.
And
we can send the other two home. We can all of the podcasts you film with them, just sack that off.
Exactly. And I mean, originally it was a 2-man play, wasn't it?
What they wanted was not Bob and Helena. They wanted all of the other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The narrators for the win.
Yeah, I think maybe one night we'll do our own show.
Would you be Bob or Helena?
Neither. You can be both.
I can be both.
I do enough in this show.
Okay. Wow.
You know,
well, there we
my
go.
shoulders are aching from carrying this show.
Carrying the weight of the show. Would you like to play some woodwind while you're at it?
No. They're not important.
Thanks.
Get rid of them.
Sack them off.
Yeah, we don't need any of that.
Okay, if you could have one of my, maybe, I'm going to say I've got a couple less than you because I don't have the 3 bridesmaids. I'm going to say 15 parts. Which one would you like?
I would like the one that sits with a cup of tea in the dressing room in the interval. No, I want the one that complains to Wes about their sound mix on a nightly basis.
Right, this is getting quite personal, I have to say. The parts I'm talking about are the ones on stage.
Oh, sorry.
Scripts.
Which one would I want? I want the sister. I want sassy sister.
Sassy sister. She's getting quite sassy,
She's
isn't
getting
she?
very sassy.
She's exploring the text now that we're comfortable.
you really lean into the word bitch.
Bitch.
Yeah, it's
with a big
good.
B,
Yeah.
plosive B.
Big old, big old plosive B. Yeah, which one do you want of mine?
I would probably take... It's a lot of pressure because you do them well. Some of them.
Stop it, you old flirt.
I'd probably take Nanny Pat.
Just Nanny Pat.
Just Nanny Pat. The one line.
Just the one line.
I don't fancy any more.
Do you like the veil? The veil's lovely. I really enjoy the veil. Do you not see it? Oh,
on
it's good.
stage with you at that point, if you remember.
No.
And we are both looking outwards, speaking to the audience, as we do for most of the show. We guide them through it.
See, a better actor is more aware of the stage.
Of their presence.
Yeah. Would be aware of, walking into a light on the stage.
That's true. And I also feel like I need to be very self-aware in that scene of potential problems. Most things that are going wrong in our show do tend to happen in that scene.
Yeah.
We've had, I do put Helena into her bridesmaid's dress at that moment.
You do.
And on press night, or gala night, sorry, as it's known here, I zipped up the dress and the zip came off in my hand.
It's all that working out you've been doing, you see?
Exactly,
That's what it is.
exactly.
If you hench.
All that carrying the show, it really is weighing down on me.
Yeah.
And so poor Karen, playing our lovely Helena, had to continue the scene with her dress half open.
We've all been there.
Have we? What have been your costume mishaps?
On this show...
Or in your career as a whole?
I got an award at the last night party of a show I did for 6 months. Because I had so many costume failures because my dressing room was right next to part of the set. So the set went all the way backstage into the dock so that people could basically disappear into the darkness. And my dressing room was literally just off there. So it meant that during the show, they had to turn the main lights off. And the only thing that was on was the bulbs around my light. And so I would so that was also the show I had to pop into drag midway through the show, do a number in a corset, my fishnets and everything, and then go back into my full 3-piece suit. And regularly I would go on with like my frilly pants still tucked into my shirt or like things.
Out,
very much. Socks tucked into trousers. Wow. Yeah, no, I was famous for it.
So Will is also available for work.
Yeah.
If you're interested after this contract finishes.
I don't think anybody's going to be. I think I'm going to leave here and get a call from my agent going, we're going in a different direction. We're actually closing the agency. We're just, that's enough.
Moving on without you.
Yeah. Well, it's fine. I'll go and become a
serial killer for real.
Well, yeah, I guess.
You've got a lot of experience there.
That's the only transferable skill I have, really.
Transferable skills. Let's talk about those. Let's talk about
which ones do you have? Because I haven't got any.
I would say, what would you say in a corporate interview?
Okay.
If the
This
acting
is it. This is the corporate
this
interview.
Is the corporate interview.
Right, okay.
The acting industry has closed.
Oh no, again.
The second pandemic is upon us.
Okay.
Rishi has called for the arts sector to be demolished.
Oh, Rishi.
And you are applying for a job in telecommunications.
It's a very long word. I don't know what that means.
I'm not sure that I do either.
Good.
So it's a PR role.
PR, good. What does it mean?
Say again.
What does that mean?
That means what does that mean? Public relations.
Public relations.
Yeah,
Thank you,
public
Grace.
relations. So
What does telecommunications mean, Grace?
transferable
She doesn't
skills
go. Okay, she doesn't know.
for the win.
Elmo, what does it mean? Never mind. Go on.
And your first question is,
Yes.
what transferable skills have you found in the arts sector that you feel you may be able to apply to this position?
To public relations in telecommunications. So I can tell you first thing off the bat, that rhymes. So, you know, if you're doing a marketing campaign, which may be part of a public relations job, I don't know, but public relations
marketing
for
is a basic
telecommunications, it rhymes.
It does.
Therefore,
Is that a full rhyme or a half rhyme?
darling, I've only got a 3-year degree in musical theatre. I don't know, but you know, it means that you can TikTok it because the kids love it. The kids love a TikTok,
They do.
which means that you could do a little rap and get the kids involved. And if the sorry, Elmo, and if the kids are on board, then equals money, and I will have then made your company infinite money. Give me a job.
It's very good.
Thank
It's
you.
very good. How would the rap go?
Well,
Put you on the spot there.
what you're looking for is a head of public relations. Take a look at me. I'm the guy for telecommunications.
Wow.
There we go.
Round of applause,
Thank you
please.
very much.
Very nice.
I'll leave. I think that's...
That was excellent.
I might take the show off this evening. I'll put my understudy on
I
because that took a lot out of me to do that.
Michael Ball is available.
Yeah. Well, that is true. I mean, we did, as the show went along, we got in touch with various big names because that's often the way things go. You know, you get cast in a show and then they realise that nobody wants to see me in a show, and so they recast. So we did reach out to Michael's people. You know, he's still reading the script and considering.
Is he?
Yeah, he was really interested by Nanny Pat. It seems like you've got some competition.
Well, yes, I can see. I think we'd make a good duo on stage.
You and Michael.
Me and him.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I don't think there's much difference between me and him.
Between you and him.
No, he went to GSA.
Did he really?
He did indeed.
There you go.
The three famous people to come from GSA: you, me, and Michael Ball.
This podcast.
This is
brought
useless.
to you by Guildford School of Acting. Not sponsored.
No.
Can I add?
No, not sponsored by anything.
It's very good.
So I'm now going to interview you for your job.
What's
You
the
are going to study. You're applying for a job to be an animal trainer.
Yes.
At Whipsnade Zoo. Don't know where that is. I think it might be a zoo. You have been asked to work with the sea lions at Whipsnade Zoo. And the question is, how has working with Will Arundell prepared you for training sea lions?
Well, sir.
Sir, ooh, I like this.
So I'm immediately taken back to my nursery days where we were split into 3 groups at the age of 3. And I was put in the sea lions group. And it has since then, and coming into fruition with my rehearsal process with Mr. Will Rothwell, Charles Arundell.
Alexander. Yeah.
That I really felt that he brought back that sense of belonging that I experienced in my nursery days as a child. What was the question?
How has working with Will Arundell prepared you to working with sea lions?
To working with sea lions.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I would say that we have an ability to play off each other on stage. And when things go wrong, you tend to look me in the eye and try not to laugh. And I think that with sea lions, that could be a really excellent transferable skill.
Of sea lions famously very afraid of laughter.
Well, I think eye contact...
Don't laugh, Alex. This is a really serious bit.
Eye contact is incredibly important with animals. And as a huge animal lover myself, I think when they look into your eyes, they can really tell what kind of person you are. And having been able to work with you, I feel like I can work with anyone now.
I mean, there we go. That
You've prepared me.
I prepared you. I've lowered the bar.
Or raised it.
I'll take it.
I think you should.
I'll take it. So you've got the job.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. I probably would take that job for free.
Would you?
If anyone's looking. Yeah, I'd take that for a low pay. I think that'd be pretty excellent, wouldn't you?
Working with sea lions.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they'd be very, very rewarding.
I imagine they're a bit violent.
Violent.
Yeah.
They look quite cuddly with their whiskers.
See, otter, 100% on
Otters
board.
are the best.
Seal, probably on board. Sea lions to me
So what is the
is
difference
like
between a sea and a sea lion?
between the sea and the sea lion. One is an enormous mass of danger, and the other one's a sea lion.
Should we
old
this back to the
switcheroo.
show and then
I think this is all good stuff.
I think this, yeah. For our listeners at home, are going to be really, really chuffed.
You keep saying this. Our listeners are like, you've already got us on board.
This show's cult following.
This show's cult following.
Speaking of the show,
Which show's that?
this show that
Unbelievable.
we're currently doing. No, Midsummer at the Barn. At the Barn Theatre.
Yes. Is that it? That's all. Speaking of it,
that is. I'm waiting for you to play off of me. That's what we do in this podcast.
Is that-
on stage.
Is that what we do?
Yeah. So you're going to bounce off me here and connect it back to the show, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Midsummer is a show we're doing here at the Barn.
It is. And okay. I've got one. So as we can probably hear from your accent, me and the listeners at home, you are not Scottish.
I don't know what you mean.
So how has your experience been connecting to the Scottish history and the accent?
Connecting to the Scottish, I do a lot of that in this show. I do
you
connect. I feel like I have deep roots in the Scottish accent.
Is it the Edinburgh set? Is it Fantastic Libby's set?
I think, to be fair, stopping joking I know it's a surprise for me, but working with Ross and Karen, who are real Scots,
They are. Not fake.
made it possible because they were kind of our accent coaches as we went through the show.
They were subtle, passive-aggressive and kind. Is what I would
They weren't with me. They were very aggressive with me. I got it wrong. Just smacked me around the head.
One of my favourite times is when things started to get stressful and probably Ryan had left the room, so no de-stressing was happening. And it would be a kind sort of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Are you able to take an accent note? Is what they would phrase when you've got an instrument in your hand and you're trying to figure out how to get stage left.
Yeah, but people come up to us after the show and they go, "Oh, you're not Scottish," so I take that as a win.
I have to say that is one of the biggest compliments
Yeah,
that you could receive.
yeah.
Is when we've been told that. It's very, very nice.
Yeah, until my father-in-law said to me, there's a lot of similarities between your Scottish accent and an Indian accent. At which point I wanted, the world to swallow me up in a moment of utter devastation because famously not near each other.
No, I would say, but some accents do have that. They do have similarities.
For example,
Portuguese accent, in my personal opinion,
and
a Russian.
Oh,
They can be. Sometimes you'll walk past some Russians and think, that sounds a little Portuguese to me. Might just be my experience there.
I wouldn't know what a Portuguese accent sounds like.
I'm not about to do one for you.
Oh,
I'm afraid. You have to put that in the job interview.
oh okay.
Yeah.
We'll tell you what. We'll hire you for another show here at the Barn.
Great.
And they obviously won't hire me because Jesus, look at the state of what I've done so far.
Either of us are going to get rehired after this podcast interview.
I think you've got a great career in radio ahead of you.
Do you?
Well, because you keep saying for our listeners at home, and I feel like that's what you
That's
need.
what the people want.
Well, I think so. You on Radio 4,
Radio 4.
boring people to sleep, talking about whatever it is you talk about.
Quite interesting on Radio 4, I think.
Are you too interesting for Radio 4? Is that the problem?
Do you know what? I actually think Radio 4 is highly, what's the word? Underestimated.
Oh.
Just going to check that. I think I used to give it a lot of judgment for being a granddad's channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an ex that used to listen to it. And I placed a lot of judgment. And then I found myself slowly sort of getting rid of that opinion when I got highly interested in what it has to offer.
Wow.
It's got Women's Hour as well. It's one of my
course.
personal favourites.
Yeah.
like that. They have a good natter about what's going on in the world.
Much like this. It's very similar.
Much
very
like
similar.
This, and as
They
just
say fuck
as
a lot as well.
influential. Do they?
Yeah, yeah.
Do they? and just as helpful to the contributions of what's going on in the world as this podcast.
I
is.
feel we've set the world to rights. I feel
Waste of time and money.
Yeah. Welcome. Oh, yes. Thank you for joining us on Waste of Time and Money with Laura and Will.
It has been an experience.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Oh, look at that. We've timed that out perfectly.
Have we actually?
That is bang on 45 minutes. We've nailed that.
I tell you what, it's not a waste of time and money with us.
Well, it's going to be cut down to a tight 3.5 minutes, I think. I think that's the only usable content they've got.
We'll see.
But, ladies and gentlemen, and theys, thems, and you, and your listeners at home, thank you for joining us on A Waste of Time and Money with Laura and Will. Come and see...
Will and Laura.
Come and see Midsummer at the Barn Theatre, which is apparently what I was supposed to say 45 minutes ago.
Probably. If you would like entertainment that is of a similar quality, if not, dare I say, better, more entertaining.
You mean my ramblings are not as good as David Gregg, one of our greatest
they are up
playwrights?
there, but David Gregg has got a certain finesse of your 17 characters.
Well, darling.
And my 15.
Well.
And our humble instruments and Bob and Helena and your male anatomy.
Yeah. So come on down. You'll have a great night. Bring your family. Don't bring your children.
Don't bring your children. Probably 16. Is it 16?
16 plus.
Yeah.
And have a glass of wine before and come and have a great night out.
Do that. And there is an interval now.
Yeah.
Just for you.
Just for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.